Welcome into Outkick the Show. I'm your fearless leader, Clay Travis. It is Friday. I hope all of you are having fantastic afternoons wherever across this great country or this great land you may be located. We got a lot to get to. I'm going to dive into all of it. Let me give you a rundown right now. We're going to talk about Grandma Cam. We're going to give you my college football gambling picks. Tim Tebow creates a controversy by defending college football. AT&T / DirecTV versus Disney and ESPN. What's going on here? Will AB play down in Miami? Harper Lee, huge Bama fan. Great article in the Wall Street Journal today. The Democratic debate was last night. What did we learn? And Shaun King, the most fraudulent man on the internet, a fake white man pretending to be black. What is it? A white man pretending to be black. A fake white man? I don't know if you can be a fake white man. Anyway, we're going to get into all that. But we begin with Grandma Cam. I love watching Cam Newton play football. I have liked watching Cam Newton play football since he was at Auburn and had, for my money, the greatest single season of college football that I've ever seen. Auburn 2010 is probably an 8-4 college football team if they have an average quarterback in charge of that team. Instead, Cam Newton puts up one of the most transcendent Heisman Trophy winning campaigns of all time to lead the Auburn Tigers to 14-0. He also, by the way, probably got paid for the entire thing. That's why he went to Auburn over Mississippi State. So, it was still an incredibly entertaining season. I don't begrudge him any money that he made throughout the course of that season for playing for Auburn. But he's gone off the rails. Last night was an awful performance by Cam Newton. I didn't think that Jameis Winston was going to be very good, but I thought that Cam Newton would be better than he was. Last night, based on what I saw watching the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if you told me that I had to take a quarterback for the next 5 years, I would take Jameis Winston over Cam Newton. And that's not because I want Jameis Winston for the next 5 years. It's because I think Cam Newton is close to done. I think we've got an Andrew Luck situation brewing right here. He's got 1 year left on his contract after this year. At the end game scenario there, I have watched Cam Newton conservatively 1 billion times on 3rd and short or 4th and short get a first down. Last night they needed basically the length of a football to have a 1st and goal from the 1 or score. And they decided to direct snap to Christian McCaffrey and run it to the wide side of the field. Now maybe he should have cut back up earlier. But regardless of what you think, the idea that Cam Newton in the quarterback sneak was not the play call there is a sign of Cam Newton just falling off the face of the earth, right? He had 15 passes where the receiver was open and he couldn't hit him. 10 misses short, I believe. 5 misses long. He was truly awful last night. And the craziness of this is, if you saw what Cam Newton wore before and after the game, imagine losing your 8th straight football game. And the way you respond to that 8th straight football loss is by saying to your teammates, hold on a minute, I'm about to go talk to the media, but first I've got to put my shawl on. Grandma Cam was dressed exactly like my grandma used to dress when I was a little kid and we would go out on the weekend and she would be driving the car. He had on whatever, I don't even know what you call that, a shawl? Like my grandma, Ruth Fox, who was born in 1912, dressed like Cam Newton dressed last night in his post-game press conference. I don't know what's going on in Cam's world, but when you look like The Weeknd mixed with Mary Poppins, you did some stuff wrong. I can't follow you as the leader of my football team if people say, who's your quarterback? And somebody responds, he's the Mary Poppins looking dude over there. All right? No affront to Mary Poppins. I'm not trying to burn her. She was a great nanny back in the day in the film industry. Probably one of the greatest nannies who's ever lived. Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Fantastic advice. But I don't want a spoonful of Cam. And it certainly doesn't make the sugar go down. This ain't Cammy Cam juice anymore, all right? And I don't know what's up with him, but it seems to me like he is done playing in the NFL. I would not wear that outfit if you paid me a lot of money. I might wear that outfit if I lost a huge bet. But I will tell you this right now. There is a 0% chance if I had just lost my 8th straight game, my 2nd straight at home, there's no way that I'm showing up in a post-game press conference dressed like the weekend meets Mary Poppin. All right? Just ain't happening. That ain't popping in my world. Might be popping in your world. The Mary Poppin ain't popping in my world. All right? So I don't know what's up with Cam, but I think his tenure as a football player is close to over. If I were betting right now and you said over under 2 more years of football for Cam Newton, I would go under. I think he's not going to play for 2 more years. And I think this is not just me being hyperbolic and reacting. He's got 1 year left on his deal with the Carolina Panthers. Say what you will about Cam Newton. He's not a guy who's going to hang on in the NFL as a backup. He's got too much ego to stand on the sideline holding a clipboard for several years as a backup somewhere. The Carolina Panthers can't sign him to another $20 million plus contract after next season unless something changes drastically. If that is the case, who's paying Cam Newton $25 million a year to be their starting quarterback at the age of 31 as he begins an inevitable descent on his career? This is the downside of being a mobile quarterback in the NFL. Sooner or later, all of those hits add up, just like they do at other positions, and you're just done. If you are a prototypical pocket passer, you can stay back there and you can pass for a long time. You can play till you're 40 like Drew Brees or 42 like Tom Brady. But when you're dropping back to pass like Cam Newton and you're no longer a threat to run, the man's not accurate enough. There's one play in particular that stood out to me when Cam Newton dropped back to pass on the next to last drive in that game last night. He had Curtis Samuel coming across the screen right in front of him. That's a throw on 3rd down that if your high school quarterback misses, you are upset at him and you give him a talking to on the sideline about how he needs to have better vision and better ability to kind of think about what's going on as that receiver flashes right in front of him. If Cam Newton hits Curtis Samuel, who runs a legit 4.3 in stride there, I think that there's a good chance the Carolina Panthers score on that play. At a minimum, they get downfield. This is simply unfortunate, but I don't believe Cam Newton is the guy anymore. I think Cam Newton is done. I think that his tenure, and it's an amazing decline, because back in 2015, he was the MVP, and he was favored. His team was at 17-1 to beat Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. And ever since Von Miller just absolutely obliterated him alongside of several other Denver Broncos, he has not been able to be the same guy anymore. And I don't know what happened. If he retires, he can have a great career. He can ride off into the sunset. He won a Heisman Trophy. He won a national championship. He went to a Super Bowl. He won an NFL MVP. But I think his best days are behind him now, and I think the future is not very helpful for Cam Newton. You start off 0-2, losing your first 2 at home. The future is not very bright for Cam Newton. I'm not sure where he goes from here, but I don't think it's to much better pastures as a NFL quarterback. All right, Outkick's gambling picks. Let me go ahead and give you my gambling picks for week 3. All right, are you ready? Tap the vein. I'm doing the blood bank guarantee right off the top here. The under in Kentucky hosting Florida. Kentucky's starting quarterback just got knocked out for the year. I have zero faith in Felipe Franks. This is going to be a low-scoring defensive struggle. Mark Stoops is going to take the air out of the ball, try to run it. Not going to be a lot of points. I gave it out to you at 50.5. It's come down. It's now around 48. Tap the veins, boys and girls. The blood bank guarantee tomorrow is Florida at Kentucky. All right, couple of other games I'm going to give you right now. How about Washington State, Houston, the over? That's going on tonight. Mike Leach against Dana Holgerson. Those guys love each other. They want to show off. Lots of points coming. Ohio State, Indiana. I actually like the Hoosiers here. They're not going to win. I'm sorry, Indiana fans. All you do is play Charlie Brown. The team that you're playing against, whether it's Michigan or Ohio State, is Lucy. They're going to yank the football away from you at the last minute, but I think they go out and they cover. Kansas State, Mississippi State. I like the under in this one. All right, Mississippi State, I don't buy into their offense. Kansas State, I don't buy into their offense either. I'm going on the under here. Pittsburgh, Penn State. I like Penn State to win this one and cover. I also like the over on FAU, Ball State. I like Stanford at UCF. I like UCF. Bama at South Carolina. I like Bama minus 25-ish. I'm not sure what the latest is. USC, BYU. Got a rookie quarterback, freshman quarterback on the road. I like that BYU defense. They're decent. I like the under there. Iowa, Iowa State. Last year it was 13-3. The under happens again. Florida, Kentucky. Again, if you're just tuning in, I already told you is my blood bank guarantee. By the way, we're 3-0. All 3 weeks of the blood bank guarantee is hit so far. Clemson, I like to win by 4 touchdowns or more. And Oklahoma, I like to win big in the Rose Bowl in front of a partisan Oklahoma crowd against UCLA. All right? That is all of my picks, all 12 of them. Fade the Picks guy taking it on the chin in a big way so far this year. We're at 60% winners so far through week 0, week 1, and week 2. So 60% winners. Hopefully we can keep it up. That's my college football gambling picks. Tim Tebow is under fire after he went on ESPN earlier this morning and said that he does not believe that college athletes should get paid. Now, I don't particularly care, right? I think that the best college athletes, if you read anything at all, the best college athletes surrounding this college basketball scandal are all getting paid already, right? They're getting paid under the table, particularly in college basketball. So I think it's hard to get that worked up about whether or not guys get paid in college football or in college basketball, because if you're truly elite and you want money, it is there for you to get. Having said that, I'm a capitalist. I have no problem with individuals being able to profit off of selling their autographs, selling their shoes, selling their jerseys. Like, I thought it was crazy that Todd Gurley got suspended for selling his jersey. It's his possession. I thought it was crazy that Johnny Manziel got investigated for selling his autograph. It's his autograph. He should be able to monetize that. So I have no issue with it. But I also don't have any issue with Tim Tebow pointing out that one reason why these athletes have such value when they leave college is because of the adoring fan bases that they are able to play in front of while they are in college. So I think a lot of times when we talk about value, we're very short-sighted in terms of analyzing that value. The reason why Zion is able to sign the massive shoe deal that he did is because of all of the attention he got as a representative of Duke for 1 year. The reason why Tim Tebow has made as much money as a professional is because the Florida Gators all got behind him and they loved him. It's great for pro sports if a guy becomes a star in a college level and enters already with a fan base lined up behind him. However, instead of ripping college because they don't pay the players enough, I think what should happen is you should be able to go pro whenever you want. I'm a capitalist. Age restrictions shouldn't exist. If you want to go pro in football, go pro. If you want to go pro in basketball, go pro. You shouldn't have to go to college at all. If you're not ready for college, then go the minor league route. Do whatever you think makes sense. One idea that I have, you may think it's crazy. Bring back EA College Football, the video game, and pay everybody who's in that video game $10,000. Do the math on it. I think it would still work. Everybody gets 10 grand and we get EA College Football again. I would absolutely love that, right? Just bring back EA College Football. Give all the players a percentage of the revenue that is derived from EA College Football. Hell, if the NCAA wants to be really popular, make it a nonprofit. Let every dollar that people spend on EA College Football or whatever you want to call NCAA football, let it all go to paying players for that and for basketball and everything else, and every single dollar goes directly into their pockets. Who doesn't love that idea? Who isn't 100% lined up behind it? Here I am, your boy Clay Travis, trying to make the world a better place, letting capitalism and markets flourish and make people more money than they otherwise would. That's what I support. I'm a capitalist. I know it's crazy in this day and age to be a capitalist. Everybody's talking about socialism and redistributing wealth and everything else. I'm a capitalist. I want the individuals who are the most talented to make the most money. I want cold, hard capitalism to triumph. Only problem with capitalism is nothing. It's the greatest economic system that's ever been devised, and the only thing that's better than that is a democratic form of capitalism, which is what we have in America today. All right, major cord-cutting war going on right now. Major war going on in the world of cord cutting. This is a crazy stat. AT&T right now is in a battle. AT&T DirecTV. AT&T owns DirecTV. They are in a carriage battle with ESPN, which is owned by Disney. And they just let everybody know who has DirecTV, hey, you guys may not be able to watch games this weekend because they might pull all the ESPNs off of DirecTV. I don't think this will happen because I think cooler heads will end up prevailing, and there's always a lot of brinksmanship in these elements. But this is fascinating, and I've been on this for a long time. I got this 100% right, and people are just catching up with where I am. Cord cutting has turned into a massive deal, and ESPN is trying to raise their rates with DirecTV a massive amount because they have to make up for all the people that have been cutting the cord at DirecTV and AT&T Universe and all these other places in order to make the revenue that they need in order to pay all the rights fees that they're obligated for years and years into the future. This is a wild stat. AT&T by itself this year through DirecTV and AT&T Uverse is going to lose, according to Rich Greenfield, who ran the numbers, 3.5 million subscribers. That's 16% of their overall subscriber base in just 1 year. This cord cutting thing is turning into an accelerated business issue, and all of the cable channels, but particularly the ones that are showing sports because they're the most expensive, are turning into major losses going forward. And if you don't understand the math on this, ESPN makes around $8 a month off everybody. If 3.5 million people are leaving, that's $25 million a month that ESPN is losing just this year from AT&T alone. That's 300 million just from ESPN, just from AT&T this year. So this is a major battle. It's turned into a real knockdown, drag-out fight. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, who's a friend of mine, is already tweeting about this. I think this is going to turn into a growing and continual issue as the cable cord cutting accelerates, and as more, I'm going to write about this next week, but as more and more people have to pay for more and more streaming services, a lot of people are going to sit back and say, why do I have cable in the first place? If you're going to ask me to pay for Netflix, Amazon Prime, the new Apple offering, WWE Network, Hulu, the new Warner Media, the new Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu, like all these different streaming services, the illusion that consumers are being sold is that they're going to save money through streaming. The reality is we're all going to lose because ultimately streaming is going to be just as expensive, if not more expensive than cable, and you're going to have to pay for streaming plus cable if you're a sports fan. I don't know what the solution is here, but there's a major disruption that is existing right now in the media ecosystem, and I think it's going to be massive in the years ahead, and I think we're just starting to see some of the early battles being fought. AT&T/DirecTV/Uverse versus Disney/ESPN is one of the first that I have seen out there, and it's going to be wild to see exactly how that goes. I'm curious for everybody watching right now, do you have cable or satellite? Do you have cable or satellite right now? Or, especially if you're younger and you're watching this right now, are you using your parents' passwords to be able to get in and watch all these games everywhere because your parents may not stream as much as you do and you're on top of it and you're doing it everywhere? I'm kind of fascinated to see all these responses. I've got Comcast in my house. I love it, honestly. I like being able to watch every game easily by sitting down in front of my television and putting it on. I have DirecTV in our beach place down in Florida. I also have that to a certain extent. But if you're a media executive, I'd be curious to just see all the responses here from everybody who is responding right here. All right. A couple other things I want to hit. It appears that Antonio Brown is going to play down in Florida. I want to give the NFL a little bit of credit here because I think that cooler heads have prevailed, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we're starting to see reasonableness apply in the case of allegations. The allegations against Antonio Brown are just that. They're just allegations. In a civil complaint, he hasn't been charged with a crime. And I think you cannot in any way start to rely on just accusations as a way to put a guy outside of being able to make his living. So I believe that this is a good move by the NFL so far to not have punished Antonio Brown. I'm not an Antonio Brown guy. I think he's behaved like an imbecile over the past couple of weeks. But I am a believe in innocence until proven guilty guy. And so I don't think you can just hashtag believe all women. I am consistent, unlike a lot of people in this world. I didn't think that this should be a disqualifying factor from Brett Kavanaugh. I don't think this should be a disqualifying factor right now from Antonio Brown. Okay? I look at all the facts, and right now, it's he said, she said, and she didn't go to the police. If she had gone to the police, I might feel differently, but when you just file a civil lawsuit, and it appears to me are just seeking damages, monetary in nature, I don't think that helps her with either me or the larger court of opinion. So if she had said, I was raped, and she goes to the criminal investigative body, and she also files the civil lawsuit, I would have said, okay, I understand that. She wants him to suffer financially, and she also wants him to suffer and be punished by the state or federal government for what exactly she alleges. But when you just file a lawsuit and you've been negotiating for months trying to get money, I don't understand that. Granted, I've never been in that situation. I hope I never am. But if somebody wrongs me and they're already rich and they behave in a criminal fashion with me, I don't want money from them. I might want money one day, but primarily what I want is for them to have to pay at the hands of justice and go to jail. That's, to me, Antonio Brown's already got money. He's already going to have a lot of money, even if he has to pay out to this woman. What I want, if he truly committed this rape, is I want him to have to pay through the justice system and go to jail. So that is a story that I think is worth following. Harper Lee, huge Alabama fan. Who would have known that the author of To Kill a Mockingbird, for my money, the greatest individual novel about race relations in the South that has had maybe the most impact of any novel written in America since Uncle Tom's Cabin, that she was a huge Alabama football fan, rabid, listens to Feinbaum when she was still alive, regularly wrote her friends, never missed a University of Alabama game. If you are not from the South, you really don't understand how much SEC football is the heartbeat of this region. I love the book To Kill a Mockingbird, but it makes me like Harper Lee even more to know that she was an Alabama fan, even though, honestly, to be fair, I hate most Alabama fans to the depth of my soul. All right, Democratic debate last night. I am driven insane by the Democratic debate when I watch it now. Here is what a lot of people miss about Donald Trump. The Make America Great Again slogan is important for one word to me. Again. It presumes that America has always been great and can be great again. What I hear from the Democrats is not a response of America has always been great and it always will be great. It's like they hate the country that they live in. I don't understand that. Our country is not perfect. But when I watch the Democrats debate right now, what I want to hear is an optimistic vision of American life. I want the Democrats to say, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump says or does, but I'm not going to get worked up in every tweet that he sends. I don't even think he's done that awful of a job. Unemployment is at the lowest level in the last 50 years. It's never been lower for minorities. It is the highest stock market we have ever had. I don't think Donald Trump has done an awful job. I just think I can do a better job. I don't think that you win by selling America on everybody's a victim and every identity is convinced that they are the biggest victim of all on the identity pyramid victimization scale. And when I watch the Democratic debates, I long for someone to actually be an optimist. I voted for Barack Obama twice. This triggers a lot of people. But Obama did not run an identity politics-laden campaign. He ran on American exceptionalism. He ran on the idea that America is so great that the son of an immigrant and a poor woman from Hawaii can rise to become the president of the United States, even if he is of mixed race. That America's opportunity and bounty is so prodigious that it doesn't matter where you are from, you can still rise and become the president of the United States. That's the same campaign that Bill Clinton ran. I'm a man from hope. Poor white family that has a kid whose dad dies and then he has a bunch of bad stepfathers and he rises to become what I think is a really good president. I worked on Bill Clinton's campaign. Al Gore ran that same kind of campaign, not as well. But then Hillary Clinton ran an identity politics-laden campaign. You should vote for me because you're a woman. You should vote for me because you're black. You should vote for me because you're gay or trans or whatever it is. Appeal to people beyond their physical features. Appeal to their innate goodness. Do not turn this election into an identity politics-laden battle where everyone, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, is forced to choose sides based on what they look like as opposed to what they aspire to be one day. And that bothers me to no ends of the earth. I honestly watch the debate and I think this is insanity. All right? I'm not a Trump guy. I didn't vote for him. I voted independent. But the way the Democrats talk, at least Trump believes that America is fantastic and the best place in the world to live, even if he does a lot of things I disagree with. Find me a Democrat who speaks to what I just said, and I'll be interested in hearing and potentially voting for them. But I ain't supporting the platforms that I see very often in the Democratic debates. All right, Shaun King. This is not going to surprise you. Shaun King is a white guy who has been pretending to be black on the internet through social media for years. He is a white guy he is Rachel Dolezal with more gumption and willingness to lie. He finally got lit up by another member of the Black Lives Matter movement or whatever they're calling themselves now. And I would encourage you guys to go read it. I haven't tweeted about it because on some level, I feel like every negative article just increases his overall power. But this guy is a fraud. He is not worthy of being trusted. I offered $50,000 to his charity of choice if he would take a DNA test and if he were able to have 25% DNA from Africa, I'd give $50,000 cash to whatever charity he wanted me to donate to in the entire country. Just 25% black. If you are 25% black, Shaun King, that means one of your 4 grandparents was black. If you are in any way 25% black, I will donate $50,000 to your charity. You know what he did? Blocked me on Twitter. Turned and ran. This dude is white. And he is fraudulent to his core. And it upsets me that we have allowed frauds like this to have voices. You may not agree with me. But everything that I do on every given day is try to say, as honest as I possibly can, my opinion on the world, whatever that opinion may be. Every issue of the day, I try to sit down and be as honest with you as I possibly can. That dude, I think, is everything that's wrong with America in the social media era. All right. I love all of you. Have fantastic weekends. Blood Bank guarantee. Hop in. Kentucky hosting Florida. The under in that game. I love you. My name is Clay Travis. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I will talk to you guys maybe tomorrow if craziness happens. Pray for your boy. I'm taking 7 kids. It's my middle kid, my 8-year-old's birthday this weekend, and he wanted to go watch the Titans play against the Colts. So I got 7 kids that I'm taking to the Titans-Colts game on Sunday. It's going to be like 100 degrees. There's no telling how much money I'm going to spend at the concession stands. Pray for your boy. I need to hit the blood bank so I can afford to actually buy these kids drinks. I got to take all they ask to showbiz. I'll see you guys. I love you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. See y'all.